Well, hey everybody, welcome in. Welcome in. If you were on the New Element Awards earlier, welcome back for hanging around. Um, the awards were, if you missed it, that was the New Element Awards for 2021. We do a yearly award show on New Element, which is nedesigns.com. And I was asked to be the host this year, along with Jappy and Dr. Dirt, both great guys and great players. So that was fun. And surprisingly enough, I took away a number of awards, which I was very proud of. So, thank you for all the folks who voted for those awards. The Washuzan Park Rainbow Summit took home a bunch of stuff, which I'm certainly proud of. Although certainly now that we have the new save format and everything, I look back and kind of cringe at the foliage and stuff like that. But can't be helped. It will be one of those things that everybody will look at differently as time goes along. But how is everyone today? How are you all doing? Welcome. My name is Brian Andrelczyk. I am a real life theme park designer who likes to play RCT and Parkitect and hasn't streamed in way too long. So happy to be back for at least a little while today, and hopefully a more regular schedule here moving forward. But as as is the life of things currently, we are uh, certainly busy and things come up. So hopefully we can get back to some more regular stuff here moving forward. But first of all, thank you, Lyserg, for that Prime sub for 3 months. Great to have you back, and thanks for hanging out. Looking forward to seeing your side of the pond here soon with our UK trip coming along. And hey, Fred, welcome. And I told you guy earlier as well. It's good to see everybody. So we haven't opened this park for a couple of weeks. We had our Colonial America themed park where we had the Salem, Massachusetts area here, and we had our kind of Boston Harbor area here, and then that was about it as far as this goes right now. So it's one of those things that gotta get back to and kind of figure out what we're doing. I kind of was purposely avoiding this for a couple of weeks because I'm at a bit of a standstill in that I don't quite know what I'm wanting to do. Of course, it was disconnected. There we go. We are back in business. Kind of surprised that we didn't lose connection during the awards because we always seem to lose connection at some point when we do these streams. But anyway, we're back. So I'm not really sure what to do today with this. Um, really not sure, to be honest. And I look at this with a pretty good idea of what the areas want to be, but not a whole lot of thoughts on kind of how to execute them, or things that I would like to do kind of are further back, and I'm not really there yet. I don't really want to develop them out into anything just yet. Notably, like I really need to develop this Boston area to kind of unlock the rest. So it's the problem is, Fred, is that we've already planned a whole bunch of it, so it's a little bit of a thing where it's like, all right, I've done it. Now we just gotta get off our ass and build a little bit. But I'm not quite sure what to do. The last time around, we took what was gonna be a Ferris wheel here and built our observation tower with this kind of star fort thing, which I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Not too bad. But before we get into that, I actually have a new a new toy which we can showcase here a little bit. So I had been saying for a while that we want to get back into building models and doing our Lego coaster models, and then also doing um, the coaster dynamics models and the nano coasters and the wood coaster models and everything else. But what we were lacking was a webcam. But we have a webcam. Hi, welcome. And now we can actually do those things. So I need to actually get all that set up. But now we can actually do that kind of stuff. So I'm still debating if I want to actually keep the webcam on while we're building in RCT, because like it feels weird for one. I don't know. It's I don't know. It's a little bit different to be looking here and not at the screen and the other stuff, but it's how it moves. But anyway, hey 733737, thank you very much for that tier 1 sub for 2 months. Look at that. Thank you very much, and appreciate you hanging out. So yeah, we got a webcam at least. I actually had I was on a podcast for work like last week, and I decided to get a webcam because my computer one was crashing all the time. So I said, well, you know, let's just go ahead and buy one. So we got the cam, and now we are, you know, doing good. So yeah, we're getting there. So the intention, you know, moving forward is to do some of the nano coasters and some of the Lego parts and pieces and everything, because I think, really, hang on, yeah, here we go. We've got a couple of things to build. So I got a Kraken one that we want to do eventually. Mostly I got this because it's still the blue and the teal and whatever one, and wanted to get that one as well. Yeah, Liam, we need the diagonal cannon object to fit that a little bit better. And hey, RCT Tycoon, there we go. Welcome. How are you guys doing? And then, just I've been holding on to for Christmas, I've got a Gemini one, one of the wood cutout ones, and then I've got a Cedar Point Skyride one, which I know Coaster Bill would be all about if he was here. And from last year, I have Lightning Racer. So, yeah, we're doing that. Look at that. Thank you for the gifted sub, 7-3, and welcome Darth Pixarus. Thank you for that gifted sub, and welcome in. So I appreciate it, guys. Very generous. But yeah, so we're hanging out. We're just getting everything going. So I should put up a poll later whether I should keep the cam or not keep the cam, so you can see everything. So we can decide. That at a later time, perhaps. Have I ever played Zoo Tycoon? I have. Big Dylan Mac, welcome in. Zoo Tycoon's great. I kind of like the first one more than I like the second one. I'm not quite sure why. You know, I liked the ability to kind of have all the different like biomes, kind of how you wanted to do it. I think in 2 you had to like transition a little more differently, or a little differently as far as that goes, but it was good. They're both fun games. I got into this like the Tycoon game kick a while ago. You know, that was how I started here with RCT. But it was, you know, RCT. There was Railroad Tycoon. There was Zoo Tycoon. Then there was like Ski Resort, Golf Resort. There was all the different ones. Airport Tycoon. There was a super like buggy Airport Tycoon like way back when, and I loved it. But the thing is, the bugs kept crashing it, and you could barely keep up with the thing. But it was a great game. I know there's like Sim Airport, and there's one other one that I had gotten a while ago, but it was still in pre-alpha, so I don't know. Yeah, I feel like everybody eventually on Zoo Tycoon got into the point where they just released animals into the park, especially with the dinosaur expansion pack. It's always one of the best things of it. So I think where we left here was we had our star fort, and we really needed to make this a little more dense as far as what was going on here, just because we've got what I see as almost a little bit tall of a tower, and we don't want it to be too heavy on big brick wall, considering that all these buildings here are pretty small so far. So if we go over and look at our stuff that we have to work with, I think this guy is going to be a pretty key piece. A lower one, Liam, you mean as far as just like another deck further down? So I wasn't really sure how I wanted to go about that. Like I thought that maybe that could work with you know, a walkway around, and actually we had originally had the exit platform kind of coming out around the bottom. My concern was that it didn't really look right as far as a kind of fort went. Um, because you kind of want those like fortressy type walls, so you wouldn't have ever had a walkway out there. And I'm trying to figure out if there's a way to do it like a walkway as um, like it was kind of added there later, perhaps. Here you go, RC Tycoon. We're not very far into the map. We're probably, I don't know, 30 hours of build time in, which is, you know, a fair amount, but for me, not very much, I guess. Um, we got our coaster, and we have the other areas planned. I do like, Fred, was it you who suggested the CCI before we started? I do like the idea of having another wood coaster to complement this guy. Um, I didn't necessarily have one planned, so initially, and it has been long enough here that I can probably explain the whole park again, but the idea was colonial America, so we had Philadelphia as our entrance. On the left, or yeah, left side here, we had the um, Salem, Massachusetts area, and so that had the sort of, you know, vaguely spooky but not really um, themes. So we have the wood coaster here called the Crucible, a couple of flat rides, a couple buildings, things like that. And then on this side, we had sort of our hub area here that would spread out to all the other areas was Boston. So this being Boston Harbor, we have our splash battle in the middle of it. We have our Boston Tea Party Teacups ride, because of course. And then we're going to have other stuff, including a big dark ride in here. Thought about it being a dark ride coaster, but I think more so it's going to make sense as a dark ride, actual like vehicles. Kind of thinking I want to do sort of like a Peter Pan Disney sort of thing, where I have it suspended from the ceiling above, maybe like a hot air balloon type, kind of go around and look down at either, you know, scenery or battlefields or whatever that may be. If we're talking like Civil War kind of time. Wicked Wiccan, that's kind of a fun name actually. I do like that. But these other areas here that we have kind of just generally surrounded in red that could grow. We had our Roanoke, the Lost Colony, down here, and that was initially intended as a mine train. Maybe that's where the wooden coaster goes instead of a mine train, or maybe we do a second coaster down there. There's no reason to say we couldn't do another one. Then we had our kids area here, which is going to be sort of like the Johnny Appleseed, you know, fun history kind of thing. But probably a little kids coaster or something like that. Right here was going to be our Native American area. So I was going to do some research at some point into you know, the various Native American cultures and tribes that were in the sort of northeast area, since a lot of this park is set in the northeast U.S. and see what we wanted to do there. But my intention was to put a Vekoma flying coaster in here with a custom layout, just because that I kind of like those older style coasters. I think they're more fun. And then here in the middle, we had our St. Louis, which we call Gateway to the West. This river here would essentially be the Mississippi. We would have St. Louis with kind of basically provisions and things like that, and then you would cross the river and head out into the wilderness. And this is the Lewis and Clark area back here. We would do a bobsled coaster in the back here, just because I want to do a bobsled coaster. Not sure yet if it's going to be a Mach 1 or an Intamin one. Probably an Intamin one, just because I think those would be more fun and we don't see them as often as the Mach 1s. And then this one right here would be the Trappers area, and like fur traders, fur trappers, things like that. And that was going to have a launch coaster of some kind. See you, Fred. Have a great night. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you for the sub and the gift sub. Really appreciate it. Have a great evening. So this one kind of has the most up in the air feel at the moment as far as what do we do coaster wise. I do think there ought to be a more modern coaster, launch coaster. Probably makes sense to be something like a Gerstlauer, or could even do Mauer. Just I don't see this park having the level of spend as like a B&M or an Intamin, but I could see them as kind of doing those mid-range, moderate type things. And maybe we do a CCI coaster down here, and it kind of is the backdrop for this area. I'm glad you're used to it. I'm glad that it works. It feels weird. Now I have to be aware of my faces, and I'll look like I care. I do typically, but I need to trim my beard. The trouble we've had with this Roanoke area, because I'm kind of unlocked with this area yet. Like the Boston area more or less locks me from doing any of these other areas behind it because we don't know how big it's going to get yet. But the Roanoke area is more or less free. Problem is I have to problem is I've got to figure out how to cross railroad tracks with river and pathway and things like that, and I kind of want to go underneath because I like the idea of a trestle. It just means that we have waterfalls here and we have some other stuff that we have to just deal with before we get too far along. And then we also have this little food stand or something, because we need something up here to go with this. We can't just have nothing. It's got to be something. Feign enthusiasm. No feigning enthusiasm here. Of course not. If I did, I'd be good at it. I actually need to and that trip a little more. Our UK trip. I haven't really done a whole lot of it because I've been. I want to have good excuses, but I really don't. I've just been lazy about it, and it's one of those runs that once I get going, I'll be excited enough to just plan the thing out. But I just slow at getting to that. Mostly because I've already planned this trip kind of twice over, it feels like, and every time the pandemic has gotten in the way. But let's do some landscaping. But the awards today told me one thing, is that I need to learn how to use the fish rocks, because those are going to be kind of a necessity for this park. Yeah, I'm excited to see Alton. It's one of the. I was looking around on Google the other day, just walking on Street View in Alton. Just a really nice looking park, and excited to see it and just kind of see the history behind it. I'm very excited to ride Nemesis. Oddly excited to ride Smiler. I know it doesn't always get the best reviews, but I think it's going to be a fun ride. Kind of a toss-up as to whether I'm more excited for Alton or Blackpool right now, because I'm excited for both of those pretty equally. If I did do a walkway around here, I probably would do it. It would fit better as like a quarter tile walkway. Maybe instead we just show the wood having kind of pushed through. Like this wood top section would be a deck, so it would have basically wood pieces sort of stuck through it. Goes like that. I'm kind of excited about Nemesis Inferno too, you know? It's one of those rides that never gets a whole lot of love or anything really, but I don't know, I've always found it to be an interesting layout, even though it is a little short. And then beyond that, we've got what else? There's Alton's Park putting in a lot of cool stuff. I do like a mock spinner, so that'll be a good ride. And then Oakwood for Megaphobia. I've been trying to ride all of the CCI wooden coasters in the world, and I'm not too far away from it. I've got I I've got essentially 4 parks left. We've got Oakwood, there's Cliffs in New Mexico, there's Adventureland in Iowa, and there's Silverwood. Now, Adventureland I was going to go this year, but I was waiting on that Lost Island park to open up. So since that one is still not open, I'm not going to do that just yet. But be determined. Yeah, that's another good one. Drayton's Shockwave is the last stand-up coaster that I need, and then I will have ridden all the world's stand-up coasters. So that'll be kind of a fun little milestone, I guess. What do we have as far as those weeds, things like that? Is berry bush. This webcam also means that we have a dog cam now. Of course, we need the dog here for it. Sleep right now. Hear her bouncing around upstairs. Thankfully, she was good during the award show. And we need something. Or something good. You want darker? Like we want darker. Then she's having trouble, but otherwise pretty good. It was actually the cat's first birthday yesterday. Nice set. Turned 1 year old. He's a good little kitty. Foliage remains one thing that I'm always about. And largely it's just like layering in a bunch of crap, but there is a technique to it for sure. Ones who are good at it can certainly make it look pretty effortless, but if you're not good at it like I am, it's take a little bit of time. But yeah, I wasn't quite sure how to fit anything in here, and I'm still having trouble with the park as a whole as to what it wants to be. As far as, you know, with colonial stuff you end up with a lot of kind of weird things, like was pointed out a number of streams ago. You know, trains really weren't a thing at the Civil War time, or at not the Civil War time, they were by then, but like the founding of our nation. So what are we doing with a train here? So we're kind of, we got to really toe that line of, you know, old but still makes sense. Hey, Desert Nessie, welcome. How are you? So we'll see where it comes out to be, but in the meantime, you know, we'll continue to kind of build out some of this stuff. This feels like wants to have a little bit more of a thing like this. It's true. It is theme park history, which is suspect at best, but you know, I do like parks that have true to life theming and things like that. Oh, well done for the blood donation. I always have trouble with that because either I've traveled somewhere that isn't allowed, or my iron levels aren't right, or whatever else. So I get to do it very often, but fun. Yeah, we were streaming the New Element RCT2 awards, well, RCT1 and 2 awards earlier, so that took most of our time, so we've been only going for a little bit here, but we'll have a little bit of a shorter stream, but I still wanted to do it since it had been a while since we've last gotten to get together. I wanted to get at least back somewhat on a level of a cycle. Next, hopefully next Parkitect stream is going to be on Thursday. I was hoping to do that last Thursday, and then a hockey game kind of showed up with it was our company's free night at the Orlando Solar Bears minor league hockey, and I wasn't necessarily planning to go, and then they asked if I would help hand out tickets and all that. So did a little bit of that, and then saw the game, and a nice time overall. Actually, our very own In Cities, Josh, came along with us. And yeah, so it was a pretty good night. Let's another one right there, and then I'm gonna try and do a little bit of kind of thinness around the bottom here. What I'd like to do is put some, almost make it look like uplighting on the building here. Not quite sure the best way to do that. One of the key tricks that I like to do for spaces like this is create heavy landscape on one side, heavy landscape on another, and then kind of an open space in the middle, so you have that great look up to the area. So that's kind of what we're going to do here, and set it up like that. Might even see about holding that. Oh, problem is across is flat. Head. Kind of wanted to just look almost like a little bit of a trail up from the water. We can put something little here to tie off boats, maybe. Oh, hey, for anybody who's here earlier, during those resubscriptions, did the alerts show up? I disabled them for the stream for the award show, but I forgot to, or I think I enabled them, but I'm not entirely sure they came up because I don't always see them. Oh, they did not. Fantastic. Well, then I'm gonna have to figure that out. It took me like so many years to actually do those in the first place. Now they're not gonna work. Fuck. Oh well, we'll figure it out. Thank you for heads up on that one. Right? I don't know. There's just so much kind of like crossing your fingers and hoping for the best in streaming. It feels like where you have all these weird settings, and then this program talks to this program, which talks to this program, and you better hope your internet is all right. Then you better hope the audio levels are good because you can't hear them yourself, or what you hear is not what it actually is, and just all sorts of things like that. And it's very, I don't know, it's somewhat stressful to get it right. It's a little hefty, but maybe not. Put that there. Can you see it this side? You can. Really hoping you might not be able to, because then it would look like it was on the diagonal. Yeah, we have a camera today, so it's nice. I've been wanting a camera to do model builds again, but hadn't had one. Ignore you saw that. I'm not tired. Totally not tired. Um, but Um, now that I have one, I can do those model builds and everything like that, and then impotence to clean this place up a little bit so that I can actually show around. You're right about that, though. You know, you don't want to hinder guest experience. I did kind of want to do a sky ride across the whole thing. I kind of still want to do a sky ride across the whole thing, but not totally sure where that's going to land yet. Because I like the idea of the train that travels around. I don't know if I want to do a second station. Like, I kind of want to just make it as a tourist train rather than a getting people somewhere train. But it would make sense to have a stop in St. Louis. That would seem to be kind of the halfway point for one, and then also just from a theming standpoint, I think that would be kind of nice to have one. But if I did the cable car, it would probably do the same. I would probably end up citing that. Let's see, get 100. Can I do 100? I can't. 90? 64. So I'd probably run it like here. And put a column here. We could probably span the whole water line without having too much in the way of columns. Hmm. Don't start, don't stop. So could go column there. That's not really going to block anything. Yeah, I kind of like the feel of that. I'm thinking too, going back to what Fred suggested earlier in the day with doing another CCI coaster, which would make sense based on kind of our Holiday World thing. Is do I want to do another? Do I do kind of another kind of twister? Maybe it's a little more compact. I wanted to do a boat ride in a channel kind of around this area. So the idea being that this is the lost continent down, or lost colony down here. So sort of like a jungle cruise type thing that's set down here. Well, a lot of comments that I had on this initially was that the windows were too much. The second story was much. So what we're gonna do is adjust that up a little bit, and then we can just do the two like this and spread a little further apart. There's no reason why that can't work. Since I don't really have an idea what I'm doing, I'm kind of jumping around right now. It's not the best way to do it, but feels definitely feels better. I'd agree. The one challenge is it still feels a little bit awkward up here. Just this is the entrance into the Boston area. I'm just kind of like, I don't know if I like that, but I don't know. Statue here still, I think. This is like a shipbuilding. Like I could see like big doors here, things like that. I'm not sure if I'm well. I think I kind of have to be sold on this gray paving because it really want to keep that same tonality through the whole space. some sort of stall at the back of those buildings. Do you mean on this side here coming off? I think, yeah, I think we want to do like some kind of a market option, because we did this little market here that you can't really see, but I think we need to do something, and we would put something into these buildings too. So this would be some kind of a restaurant of sorts. So maybe that's the answer. Maybe it's a something on the wharf restaurant or whatever. Or so maybe it becomes, do I have the seats in? Don't, but I can just, well, let's toss it in there. You could essentially have this as dining tables of some kind. Have a structure come off of this building. And you got a nice little eatery. We can put some windows down here maybe and make that feel better. I'm not quite sure the best way to do that yet. Fencing are we using? Post fencing there. Fencing here. Hey BG, welcome. Yeah, got the cam up and working. So no F1 spoilers, I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna watch it after this race, or this. I got my bow tie shirt on. Hey, thanks for coming by, and thanks for the resub and everything. So have a great night, and hopefully we'll be back on a somewhat semi kind of normal stream schedule, but I don't know. We'll see as it goes along, and here, I guess. But thanks for stopping by and hanging out. Good night. Thanks. I got about half an hour into it, and then stopped to set up for the stream. So I'm excited to see how it went. So it was already pretty interesting. Yeah, where I stopped, the safety car had just come out because Latifi had binned it, and it was Checo had gotten screwed on that one. So I am excited to see kind of where that will play out and everything. So I've kept it spoiler free so far. So hopefully I'll carry it through and then watch it here after we're done, which may not be too long, to be honest. Any awards were that was long. He's got a really good knack for crashing in situations that that really creates some different luck for different people. Certainly Abu Dhabi and now this. So yeah, he sure does. He knows how to bin it, and twice in the weekend too. But also, I'm glad Mick's okay because that was a rough crash in Kuala. Probably fine. You did want to do a covered bridge here at some place, and I don't know where that place wants to be. It might actually be into the kids area, perhaps. But the problem is, I needed to cross water somewhere, but it feels slightly odd that the entrance into Boston Harbor would be through the covered bridge, but maybe not. It opens up like that nicely. Oh man, the number on my benches. It's oh, we said we were gonna do these as the invisible one. No, that's a litter bench. Visible bench. That way it'll at least make them look like they're sitting on the planter itself. Still need to support this bridge. Hey Andrew, welcome. How are you? We have had a busy day today. We hosted the New Element Awards earlier today, and now we're doing a little bit of RCT for the first time in quite a while. And working on this park in some form or another. I do think the rocks are gonna yet another object. Groups. Oh, you can have even more senior groups now. Interesting. I do want the fish rocks. Kind of want them to be separate from everything else. Thanks. Yeah, the webcam was a thing that we intended to do for a little while because I kept saying that I wanted to do it mostly to build all like the nano coasters and the coaster cutouts that I've had, but at the same time also to be able to do more stuff. So if we ever have the dog here, now a dog cam and everything else like that. So I would like to get a second webcam to do that sort of thing too, but at this point we're going to start here and then we'll work our way beyond. So maybe this is the covered bridge here. Maybe this is how things set up. I wonder if it makes sense to do this whole thing at a half tile. Like, oops. Makes sense to lower the whole darn thing. Oh, I forgot to click. Anywhere else? Here. So we're off elevation there, but not necessarily. I like I like the Pennsylvania Dutch, kind of style of it, mostly because that's where I grew up, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Um, so that's the kind of ones that I'm used to. Um, I do like the not necessarily fully enclosed ones, but ones that have the kind of window cutout on the sides. Only because I think that's going to work better for RCT. But we'll We'll see. I haven't quite decided which way that wants to go just yet. How this looks. Run. Looks on the bridge. Not bad, although surprised that he cuts through right there because we slope up earlier. Try this. There it is, much better. Okay. I can handle that. This way it also gives us a level spot for a foundation on both sides. I feel like this dining area will be made much better with like string lights and stuff like that, although I keep having to tell myself that string lights really weren't a thing. Colonial times, much less electricity in general. I'm trying to figure out what the best out of that should be. That this guy can still have. Need to make more obvious and probably need to do some water cannons out here maybe. I'm trying to think of the kind of reason you would come out here. And granted, we can do this ship walkthrough here, which I do still want to do that, and that may be something to do on stream here at some point in the future, is to go ahead and take care of that ship, because we wanted to copy the one that was done in Disney's Fairy Tale Kingdom Park. So that's more or less a given as far as how that's done. Well, once I start yawning, I can't stop. Jeez. We don't do such a heavy roof in this direction. Maybe it's more of a... not this direction. How many is 2, 3, 4, 5, which feels like enough. Really want to go too much beyond that. This one probably doesn't need it. Cables on this one. Go over top of the other. Using the wood poles so far, so we'll continue with that. Also take this and add on bit. Let's use the invisible support blocker. I know I can reorder them in Tile Inspector, but now that I don't have to worry quite as much about object limit, that's just go. And although it's not, it makes sense structurally, I kind of want to have another post I want to do here. And that way it's off of the building just a little bit. And we can still take the fencing that we had started to establish here and carry it through, unless there's another option, which I kind of do like the mesh for this. A nice unassuming fence and lets us do cells here. We'll put the gate right there. I love that there's actually a piece that's course. Definitely something to be said for changing up your pathway types. You're changing kind of what you're down. Drop those. That way it makes it stand out a good deal better. Question is like, what do you call this restaurant? I'll have to look up some kind of a, maybe some kind of little colonial, some kind of name perhaps. Maybe put a little hand here for a menu. do want to add wagon wheel tracks and things like that. Kind of looking at the other side, what we've done right around here. That sort of look elsewhere as well. So let's grab first of all, it would benefit from having a sign here. That doesn't really make sense to have a second one, I don't think. One there. And then we'll put some kind of a shop inside the building. Trying to think about the best way to get those tables to be useful, because the challenge we're going to run into with the tables is they're behind fences right now, which means there'd be basically one way in, one way out. What's up, Mav? How's it going? Doing all right? Okay. That'd be a good way to take care of that. You can see my face. Finally made advancements in streaming. Indeed, a pro stream. Semi-pro. I think this sign screams menu to me more than the other one does. I'm actually somewhat surprised that we don't have a centered post that you could support this sign on. That's one for extreme. Add that one in. Of course, he's not going to hear this unless I upload these, which I have been very, very much lacking on. So around the other side, we've had barrels. You can talk today. And I think what we're going to do is try and build up this side as well. This can be the name of the restaurant, could be like the Keg or something like that. And that kind of sort of looks like there's something supporting that, so. Yep. Possible to see if we can use the Keg and this or something make it look like back a little too far. I was gonna kind of think that we could sit it there. We did not win anything with Tokyo Dome, sadly. We finished second on that for best infrastructure. Well, Shusan won for that one, but we finished second. But otherwise, we missed out, sadly. I kind of thought we would do all right with that one with best ride design. I know there'll be the full rundown of the votes later, so I'll be curious to see where we finished on that one because I think we were up for that, weren't we? I was kind of surprised what Shuzan kind of cleaned up. I was actually really surprised at how well it did. So I'm happy for that and thankful for the votes. I guess not. But Hydro won Park Maker of the Year, which well deserved. That is an awesome win, very popular. Use elsewhere. Aha. I like. Go. Feel like we can. Maybe put these under. Give it a little more homey feel, although you can't really see the rest underneath of there. Oh. Might as well copy in the seating area. Have actual seats in this kind of a restaurant, but or what? Yeah, not a whole lot of options on side or this side. We got benches, which feels more appropriate for density. Maybe this is the right way. Maybe it's this bench plus our table for food. That heck, that drawer, it must be all screwed up. That's better. Okay, now did I add in? Yeah, I think this is. So this is Sadrat's new scenery manager, of which I haven't done anything with just yet, but yeah, it's pretty cool. There's a lot that we can do with it right now. Being object usage, brush tools. Oh, this is scenery. Copy. Oh, select the whole thing. Right now it's just copying across. on the right tile, which it is. Surface scenery, location mirrored. Go. That gets us where we need to be. Oh, it copies the copies the surface as well. Okay. Wrong one. Crap. Not what I wanted. The path. Go. Oh, I bet. That sounds actually really crazy. Um, we'll have to catch up on that in a little bit. What that's here. You gonna go see it in person? Be pretty cool. All right, so offset's still 2. It's a shame that it doesn't keep the draw order, although maybe that's a user error. RCT World Championships would be fun. I don't know how you would do that because I don't like sit in this room for the next 6 months and build something. Hydra could build a park in that time, I'm sure. But I'll put some benches on this side, but probably not on this side because I feel like it would be awkward to be sitting there eating while somebody's like on the other side of the pathway or on the other side of this fence, just like hanging out. Maybe that feels. Yeah, you're not too shabby yourself as far as speed goes. Round the garden. Well, at least there we have something set up. Do a group stream. Remember we used to do that? We used to do the like when Rob and I would do the streams, and then we'd have like 12 people doing streams, um and we would have everybody involved in it. We do still need to do those Dino ones, which I don't think I have time at the moment because I'm probably only gonna stream for another like couple more minutes. Um, but yeah, I do want to at some point get those taken care of. Yeah, it's a short one today. Mostly just because the prep work for the awards took more time than I was expecting, so I have things to do that did not get done. But that is a good idea. We should plan to do that live in the future here, and maybe we can set something up that can be fun. Yeah, let's see what we got next week. I think I might actually be free for once next. Could be not a bad option. Hey, Techno Fuzzy, how are you? Yeah, I am the senior citizen of RCTing, I suppose. Need Kai back. Kai is older than I was. I was gonna say, is it morning or fair enough. Nearly 6 o'clock here. I don't like the way I had hoped that would look different, but or if you can still get. Sounds like the same thing that happens to Rob every time he builds a park. Is it starts out as sort of an amusement park type thing, and then it just becomes themed. Yeah, that'll do it. 3 a.m. Oof. Can't do the all-nighters like I used to. That would have been a fun one to enter, I feel like, the dive coaster contest. Curious to see what the results look like. I was on less sleep yesterday because I gave a tour at SeaWorld, which definitely took. I had to be up at like 7 a.m. and that was rough. Um, we have. I've got Dulcimer sign in here somewhere. Find it. Yeah, daylight savings not my favorite. I swear we've used this before. We didn't. Huh? Okay, 3D sign without background. Amazing, we didn't have that selected. Okay. Yeah, I mean I don't really have a need for the other signs, so I can probably deselect them because I can't imagine I'm going to use them. I'm sure I like this already. It's the way that it overlaps the windows is kind of sort of what I wanted, but the fact that they're dimensional, it would have looked better if it was almost like solidly one side. Actually, that may be an object request for Tulsa Mirror, whoever at some point, is to do a sign that doesn't have the dimensionality, like the thickness of the letters, so then you can make it look like it's painted on something. Could be a decent inspiration. These aren't. Yeah, if it weren't for the Greek letters, I would absolutely use that one here. That is a good thought. Yeah, that made good for a really good graffiti actually. That worked incredibly well. But hey, 526, what's going on? Welcome. Yeah, CSO definitely elevates the game to almost looking like another game in some cases. Certainly, it's how you use it, but I do appreciate CSO more than I like NCSO. But you know, to each their own. Some people can do some amazing stuff in CSO. Yeah, Storybook Brook Glen absolutely did it. You know, I'm somewhat surprised that Storybrooke um, didn't get closer to Washuzan in the voting for best park. Like I figured it would be like one vote difference between the two, and it was kind of a toss up as to who was going to win. Because certainly it, you know, pretty good. Hey, yeah, we're trying to rock the webcam now. We're starting up, you know, a whole thing here for trying to be able to do streams again with building. So doing the coaster dynamics, the coaster cutouts, or the nano coasters again, and also being able to do uh, Lego builds and stuff like that. So in the meantime, you know, I figure I'll use it as a face cam too. Do I have a NVIDIA GPU? I do, yeah, actually. I don't know which one it is, but it is. Okay. Yeah, certainly. This might be something I'll play with here in the future. I don't necessarily mind the background because we've got the you know coaster room stuff, although it is more or less blurry. But I, I may I may do that at some point, and then I can be around the or not taking up a section of the screen. To get my really get into the mood and get my coaster harness that I have here, and you know put it over on the chair. Be fun. We did say this was going to be some kind of a covered bridge. I'll need to find some reference imagery, I think, before I do that one. Funny. Yeah, I have an over-the-shoulder harness from a ride, and I have like the ratchet mechanism and everything else separately and in pieces. So I gotta like degrease all that, then put it back together, and I would need some additional pieces to actually do it properly. But maybe one day, maybe one day I can machine some things and get it to actually work. But just oddball things that you have when you're into this. Okay, so question of the day is how do we want to run with this teacups here? Because I've got the entrance right now coming on from this side. Probably load up, and then it would load somewhere over here, and then we would exit out the other side. So we exit across this way. Question: do I want to do it that way, or do I want to go opposite? It would seem to me that you would want to load in as soon as you get into the area. So it makes kind of a nice little mini plaza here where you can enter on this side and then pop out on that side. I don't feel like the entrance will bottleneck because it bumps out on both sides. So we've got kind of our through section here, but we also have this little bit of a plaza at this point. The only thing is you're not really going to have time to take in the ride before you have the queue presented to you. And I'm really looking at this from folks coming just from that one direction. Because while they will come from the other direction, chances are they're going to come across the bridge first. We have sort of our finer dining over here, and then this one. Because this does get a little bit tight right here at the beginning anyway, because we've got that. I'll have some kind of a statue here, or something. I'm not quite sure what that something is just yet. And buildings here, we'll have midsection buildings here, try and same size, same thing on back here. This will be our main plaza that we're gonna have the like meeting house gathering space building, and then like an outdoor plaza next to it. And then this will be our dark ride. I'm debating whether or not I want the plaza building and all like the old artistic sketches of Boston and everything, like this meeting house building. It's always freestanding kind of in the middle of the path, but I kind of wonder if I just want to push it back a little bit and have sort of like half alleyways on backside, and then we just cut it off on either end, and it just kind of protrudes out from the rest, because that lets us put a plaza in the front of it. It may end up looking a little bit better and just working better for space as a whole. So I'm not really sure, but we didn't do a heck of a lot today. But we did get some more landscaping and foliage down here. Definitely kept this kind of heavy. And I'll probably continue this around. You mean a park layout or ride stuff? This. Well, the ride stuff is just a matter of learning from real rides and things like that. Park layout is, for me, I like park layout. You know, it's the macro is fun for me as far as the kind of building out how the guest flow goes. So you want to make sure that everything sort of rolls into each other, that it makes sense. So we have basically one big loop here, and then we're gonna have some kind of spurs off. So we'll have this like dead end spur here. We'll have basically another loop right here, kind of a mini loop. Although we kind of end up with a hub and a spoke here for these two, and these will connect around the backside. So the idea is it looks like this section of the park expanded first, and then maybe we had this little bit here, and then later on an expansion took this and this and this and kind of expanded around. So I try and think about maybe how the park grew over time, but yeah, not too bad. Is it any custom flat rides? Yeah, it is possible now, from what I understand. It's just a matter of it has to be built. Possible to slow down the restraint animations. What do you mean? Are you thinking that the getting in and getting out is too fast, or what are you wanting to do? And once we settle in on this space too, we can go ahead and hack the whole thing. So we'll go ahead and hack this next time probably. Mostly, I just didn't want to have to move it again because I'm kind of thinking I don't want to do my big old complicated hack. I'd rather just adjust it in scenery manager or ride manager. It's just going to be simpler in general. I'm sure you could. I mean, I don't think you would need to slow things down. I think if you played the noise at the same time, the challenge would be syncing it up, get that to happen every time. I think for me, it would more the compressed air sound would be more interesting when the thing swings versus the restraints, because that's the more obvious sound when you have the ride starting its swing up, swing back, swing up, swing back. When you get that compressed air push all the way up, that could be a cool effect for sure. This does narrow down a fair bit right here in the middle, which is maybe not ideal, but considering that we're a minimum 3 across in a lot of these cases, but there are a few spots here where we get to 2 across. This ground texture is still going to be a challenge, I think, just because there's a lot of detail on it, and I think we want to cut down on some of that detail, but that's something for another time. So I think we're actually going to wrap up here because we're at our typical stopping point, and it is near time. Let me save this over. We are at day 32. Okay. The intention is to be back next Sunday with a regular full stream. So hopefully continue this park or do something else. But wouldn't mind continuing to push this along if we can. Get this going a little further. In the meantime, Thursday, hopefully we're doing Parkitect. It's new scenario time because we finished our campaign. Keep calling them scenarios. But new campaign time because we finished our previous one. So the one coming up, I kind of remember liking when I watched Silverette play it on his YouTube. So I'm looking forward to that one. And then I do want to start planning for doing build streams. So like I said, we got the coaster cutouts and stuff and all that. We want to do those here at some point soon, but now that we have the cam, we can do that. So anyway, it's good to be back. I know it was a bit of a pause, and I know YouTube is still kind of dead because I haven't done anything to it for like 2 weeks now, which is really bad. But I will do those soon. Chance I'll start doing Parktech Sandbox 0, not until I finish the campaign mode. Once that happens, then I will do Sandbox. So we're making our good way through it. So hopefully we'll go pretty soon. Hopefully within this year we'll do. After campaign, yes. The intention is absolutely once campaign is done to do the whole thing. So we'll see. But I would imagine it's going to take me most of the year to get through the rest of the campaign. But especially if I just do it on Thursday still. But anyway, thanks all very much for watching. We will see you next time here and talk to you later. So bye now.